To all who come to this happy place,
Welcome.
welcome.
Well, come in.
Let's put on the show.
Your cadaverous pallor
Aloha.
betrays an aura of foreboding.
Hang on to them hats and glasses.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
It's Remain Seated, Please, episode 10. We've made it to 10. Today we have another very special episode where we have two guests on this podcast.
Who are they?
Well, returning for his second episode is Addison Kowalski.
Feels good.
Addison, how you been?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. And making his podcast debut, Nathan Huckabone from themeparklead.com. Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Is it Nathan or Nate?
Nate.
Okay,
And
great.
that's the first time that someone has had to clarify my first name and not my last name. You got that right.
I went
That was
phonetic with it.
That was good. No,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
you.
So the reason we're having Nate on the podcast this week is Nate is actually a former cast member of three Disney parks. How many Disney parks?
2 Disney resorts, you can put it that way.
Sure, yeah. We thought it would be fun to have him in and ask all kinds of questions.
That's right.
What's your story with Disney? Where's your passion come from for
Thank you. That's
Disney?
a great question.
I don't think I know.
I have very fond memories of Disney films. I still, I'm first person in line when a Pixar movie or Disney movie comes out. But the real thing for me has always been attractions. And so I've always loved how attractions work, and nobody does it better than Disney. And so that's always been kind of thing that's driven me to love theme parks. And that's, why I do my website, probably the same reason you guys do your website, because, you have a passion for these places. And I like exploring other theme parks as well. But at the end of the day, Disney really does it.
Yeah.
Probably better than anybody out there. So.
Where do you think that passion comes from? No, because for me, people always ask, they're like, why, and it is kind of like a rude
Disney so
question.
much? Yeah.
I'm tired of answering it, but especially for this podcast.
I grew up in La Mirada. It's right on the edge of LA County and Orange County. It's about 15 minutes from Disneyland. Growing up, I would always, I would say biggest influence of somebody who really kind of instilled theme parks in me, other than my dad, would probably be my aunt. Me and my 2 cousins, she would always take us every year to a different theme park or water park, whether it was Raging Waters or Disneyland or Knott's Berry Farm. Those are kind of 3 we went to. Growing up, we would get to go once a year, and my dad knew somebody who worked there, and they would get us in once a year. Every once in a while, I'll go maybe twice a year because and then my sister started working there, and so when I was in 8th grade or 7th and 8th grade, she started getting me in. Southern California is such a great backyard. As far as
So I guess we'll dig right in. Why don't you tell us the first time you worked at a Disney park and what you did?
First time working at Disney was in 2004. I left my first job at Knott's Berry Farm and headed over to Disneyland, a couple miles away, and started there at the Opera House on Main Street. I feel like I know Steve Martin because my first job at Disney was Disneyland. Disneyland the first 50 magical years. It was at the Opera House.
Oh, yes.
And so I'd say, and I'd do a whole thing. And so I would sit in a theater and watch him every day.
Was Mr. Lincoln back there?
Yeah, he was there's a crate over him.
Really?
Yeah. De-skinned. Ooh. Yeah, so
Nate.
I know, this is weird. The audio animatronic gets de-skinned. Just like all the audio animatronics at Disney, they have their own costuming individuals that maintain their costumes. And so underneath, there's actually a lot of space underneath the Lincoln stage. Back when it opened in '64, probably that room was filled up a lot more.
Yeah, with computers and
Same with Tiki Room. Tiki Room, it has this massive basement, all for the showing. You go down there and it's basically just at this point, a couple
storage.
Store a laptop in the middle of the room, MacBook with but it's a lot of empty space because nowadays they can run it off of much smaller computers.
Yeah.
The Opera House is a really cool building because that structure was actually built to be the lumberyard for the park when they were building it, and then it sat empty for a little while. I think the first thing it was a Babes in Toyland walkthrough set, and in the 50s, and then obviously 64 was only 9 years after the park opened, so pretty quickly within that first decade they got something in there that was pretty major. They told me I was going Jungle Cruise, got there the first day, and they took me into costuming, which is what they do when you're training. and they got me a 5-piece suit instead of Jungle Cruise outfit.
What was that about?
I mean, I just went with it, and then I asked them, what's this all about? And they said
Should I be worried?
which it ended up being a blessing in disguise. I ended up working at an awesome attraction that is no longer there. So,
They still play the video, though.
They do, yes.
Where did they play it?
Which is very, it's great when I take people into the Opera House and we're walking through, great moments, Mr. Lincoln lobby, and I say there on that, 32-inch screen is the show that I used to introduce on a microphone in a theater filled with people, and now it's been reduced to a small screen in the lobby. So.
Were you working the day when it was closed to the public for the publicity event?
Oh, like when Steve Martin did the whole thing? No, I started right after the attraction launched.
You worked at Knott's before that?
I did, yeah.
What were you doing over at Knott's?
Even more exciting things? No, not at all. I was at the main gate, so I was a lead for guest services. So when you were upset about some issue you're having with tickets or something like that, and they'd say, "Okay, I'll get my manager." 17-year-old Nate Huckabone with his braces would come out and say, "I can help you," which people loved. So yeah, I did that for a while. But as soon as I was 18 out, which is the age you need to be to work at in Disney attractions in California.
Oh, so you almost went for practice at Knott's and then decided.
Yeah, I went. Yeah, they hired at 16 and Disney hired at 18. So as soon as I was.
Yep.
Before we move on to Disneyland, what's the best attraction at Knott's Berry Farm?
I mean,
There's one obvious.
I mean, the Calico Mine ride is pretty phenomenal, but the Timber Mountain Log Ride, which
that's another great one.
My disheveled hair is due to the Timber Mountain Log Ride today. I went on it. We were there earlier.
Nice.
You excited for the new changes in Calico Mine Ride?
I am, and Timber Mountain Log Ride. If anybody has been on it, can say that's the best preview for what's to come in the Calico Mine Ride. Garner Holt, which is a industry veteran, is doing the audio animatronics and things like that for the new Calico Mine Ride, which will be really, really great. So I'll be there on the media day. I'm looking forward to it. So.
When is that? Do you know?
The 12th is the media day, I believe, and I think it's grand opening on the 14th.
Are you going media day from Theme Park League? Did you get some media pass? Oh, that's fancy.
I somehow convinced somebody that Theme Park League is worth
something.
An invite to. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's cool, Robert. You should see if you can get over there for us.
That would be nice.
So I guess let's head back down Catella and go back to Disneyland. So you started at the 50th film. But you were supposed to go to Jungle Cruise. Did you end up going? It sounded like you did.
I did. Well, yeah. I begged the schedulers for a long time, but before I went to Jungle Cruise, I actually went to Indiana Jones.
Oh, cool.
And the way I thought of it, I mean, I love Indiana Jones, and it's my favorite my favorite attraction anywhere. I mean, I worked it for a long time, and I spent a lot of time there, and still to this day, it's my favorite.
That's your favorite Disney attraction.
Favorite attraction, just bar none. I mean, it's best queue, best for me, anyways. It's just it's a story I relate with.
You like super embraced into it. I don't know. Definitely is.
It's immersive.
Yeah.
It is.
I was blown away the first time. Although the first time I rode it was when the queue actually got to spend time winding in there,
before
and that was the best. And then and then Fast Pass came, but I still don't understand why with Fast Pass you can't utilize the building as the queue.
It's
but same thing at
I think it's also a claustrophobia.
Yeah, and the same thing at Space Mountain. I remember being able to wait inside, and now you can't even do that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how true this is, but from my time there, what I understood is they would have these industrial engineers that basically come in and would do statistics on all this stuff, and Fast Pass because they used to have it merge where the Fast Pass queue outside would merge with the normal queue, and
before the film, right?
Well, no, they would actually merge. So if the line was long enough and the outside switchbacks were filled up, they would still have that ramp up the thing there, and basically the Fast Pass would merge, and they would go down into the temple and down the Bamboo Canyon. And then once they got out of the spike room and where the pillars have fallen down and get to the rotunda, they would split back off again.
Oh.
There were signs that literally said, have your fast pass goes this way, and so it's just a nightmare for staffing reasons. Obviously, you have to
absolutely
you have to regulate that, and it just causes confusion. But with that, it was taking more than 15 minutes for Fast Pass to get on the ride. And at the time I worked there, 15 minutes was like that was a cutoff. If it was taking more than 15 minutes for Fast Pass to get on, they
you defeated the purpose.
Defeated the purpose.
Yeah.
I think there was like over 50 people that would work that ride throughout the day.
Wow.
It was a pretty
That's intense.
nuts amount. Yeah. When they had both stations open and everything like that.
Now, How would a cast member for Indiana Jones make sure that people don't jump back in line in that area that's open?
That's a good question.
It's just an honor policy?
Well, no, you've got the Rotunda cast member there, and they keep an eye on faces and stuff like that. But I mean, there is a camera in there, so.
What's the rumor about Buddha? Are you guys familiar with this?
No. In what way?
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if there's like a Buddha belly thing or like behind the scenes at Indy, like in the ride breaks down. Do you know about this?
There was a thing that a lot of cast members would do there, where there was a little kind of Buddha-looking statue near the belt check area. So, belt check is where when the cars pull up in the station, you've got a car on your left and your right, and right before the track merges and it goes into the ride. And so that's where they check your belt, hands up, pulling the yellow strap. And so there's a little Buddha there, and people would put change in its hands, and they'd stack change on it. And people, just like with any ride, you believe in that kind of stuff or not. But yeah, some people would say, oh, it broke down because you didn't, pay your thanks to the Buddha. Or...
Now, how do you feel about the updates to Indy, the lighting updates and the...
You're referring to the Hall of Promise. So when you go in and the projection mapping on the face of Mara there. I think that a lot of the upgrades they've done to that ride, especially like for instance right after that scene when you come around you see Indy, he used to be kind of both arms stretched out, stretched out, leaning against the doors, and now they've kind of turned it where he changed it to where now he is putting his shoulder into the door and kind of leaning against one door. And I think that that was like a great change. A lot of the lighting effects in that room with the lightning bolts through the wall.
Yeah, I loved that when I first saw it.
Tokyo's.
And that Indy looks more like him now too.
Yeah. So, but I enjoy the Hall of Promise has always been such a cool room. I mean, you see Mara's face, you look into my eyes. When I finally went on it, I love the visuals, and the first time I went on it, I saw the Visions of the Future, which is the Starfield.
That's my favorite one.
Which I mean, just phenomenal. And I think with the new projection effects, it looks good. I mean, the original Starfield, which was the fiber optics in the dome, were really great. But I think that's one where the projection really lends itself to
absolutely
really furthers the effect. And so I think that one was really good. And so I saw that one as the first one. And but then the voice came on, and I remember the voice being like, "Ooh," and just because I was so attached to the deep booming, but very quickly, I mean, within like a month, that was changed.
Yeah, they switched it back
because everyone complained about it,
which is crazy to think that they.
Listen.
I think that they.
I think I love that they listen.
And I don't think that they listen to. I mean, I think they listen to the online community, but I think they listen to just guests in general, and I think that's something that Disney's been really great at the past couple years.
Now, let me ask you this. Is Mara a boy or girl?
I think it was purposefully made to be asexual. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I always thought boy. I think everyone always thought boy. But then I heard that the reason they changed the voice is because they had a girl doing the voice to make it sound more like the girl that she is. But and then I've heard that the original voice was James Earl Jones, which I don't believe it was.
No, I always thought of it like an Audrey 2 type of thing, where Audrey 2 was a female, except they had a male's voice.
Yeah. From everything I understand, and I want to say I heard this in an interview or something at one point, but that it was purposefully made to be ambiguous because it's also kind of a...
That's not important to the story.
Well, yeah, not that, but also, when you're creating a false deity, you got to be real careful. You know what I mean? False for some, but when you're creating a religious figure, even if in fiction, especially at a park like Disney, you got to be careful to not step on the toes of anything else. So I think they did it in a way where it's not really, it obviously has the look and the feel of certain, cultures, but, it doesn't step on the toes of any of those existing ones out there.
Cool. So my question was, I've read recently, and actually in this last week when they reopened Indy, the Hall of Promises effect is not working on the front end of it with the doors switching. And somebody likened it to the Yeti and Expedition Everest, where it's like this thing that they'll never fix because they can't.
It does always have problems, but...
Funny story about that door, actually, when I got trained there at the time, they took us into that room and they'd have us, stand right here, and they'd have the lights turned off, and they said, don't move, whatever you do, don't move. And you would hear this clinking, kind of the sound, and they turn the lights back on, and the wall is was right there. And so they would take you back behind the moving walls, and they let it swing towards you. And, a maintenance guy was there, and they were the ones having this effect go and everything. But it was a cool little thing. I know for a fact they don't do that anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of.
Was it because it was like, oh, I bet you don't know that the ride works this way? Stand here.
I think it was just kind of a fun thing. Whether it was something that they did, I mean, I don't think it was written in the manual like, hey, take it to the door and let it swing, within inches of their face. It wasn't like that, but it was.
I love the thought of a huge effect like that. That's so cool.
And it's such a cool effect for such a minimal amount of time, and those are the coolest effects when you just you're gonna see this for 3 seconds, but I think that's the thing that's so grand about Indiana Jones. I think in '95, the last time they did a really grand ride, Splash Mountain,
right?
And Toontown was obviously in there, but Toontown I think was a grand area. But I think that as far as when you look at a dark ride taking steps and with these crazy effects, you see Pirates obviously, really like set the standard, and then Haunted Mansion, they really did all these cool things, and I think everything kind of followed that mold for a long time, and I think Indiana Jones really kind of took it to a new level. I mean, everything from the rolling ball to the to that bridge and just every effect, every corner of that ride is just so phenomenal. It really is.
So you worked there first. You wanted to do Jungle Cruise. So take us what happened next.
We've been building up this Jungle Cruise thing, and we're going to finally get there, and it's going to really let you down.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So I was begging the schedulers, which are situated in these offices right across from where the Jungle Cruise Indiana Jones are. So the Adventureland offices is up there, and the department I was in was Adventure Frontier Main Street. So that area, and that's changed over the years. I mean, prior to me being there, it used to be it was split up differently. But so I'd be up in these offices, and I would go up there as a lead for Opera House to get my paperwork and go tell them about the one time we got to 101. And there was 2 schedulers up there, and I would constantly poke my head in and be like, hey, you got any opening spots for Jungle Cruise? And they never did. I mean, they had so many other people that they would train, and one day I got a call, and I was on my way to a junior college class at Fullerton College nearby, and they said, hey, we have somebody that dropped out of training. We know you've been wanting to do it. We saw your photocopied note that you pasted on our cubicle. Yeah, I had pasted, a picture of me with it saying, Jungle Cruise, choose me, with my number on it. And so I said, of course. I failed a class that year solely because of that. I didn't fail, I withdrew. But I withdrew from a class so that I could go train for Jungle Cruise. And it was about, a week or 2 week process. I forget what it was. But went and did that. And yeah, pretty much any shift that I could pick up there, I would, because my primary job there was still being a lead over at the Opera House. So the great thing about getting trained at Jungle Cruise too is that it was kind of like a combo where you got Jungle Cruise and Tiki Room. Tiki Room took -3 people to operate, or whatever it is. And so I think Tiki Room takes 2 people to operate, and so they would train you on both. And for the majority of people at Jungle, the people that worked there for a while would work Tiki, and so the amount of Tiki shifts I worked were, really like a handful. My last shift in Adventureland, though, was before I went over to Tomorrowland, was working the Tiki Room, wearing right as they'd brought in the new orange corduroy jackets.
So what's your favorite Jungle Cruise joke?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there's a lot.
And did you write your own?
Let's go around the room.
Please.
Mine was like the broken little bridge thing, like right in the beginning.
Ruins. Yeah.
And the guy was like, ladies and gentlemen, this was Walt Disney's first attempt at the monorail.
That's a good gag.
I've only heard it once.
Yeah.
I became a big fan of people who could deliver the Jungle Cruise spiel as scripted, because the script really is phenomenal, but you'll read jokes and you'll be like, that is not funny. How is that funny? And then you'd see somebody who would do it and it would be hilarious. And I think that's the charm of the Jungle Cruise. But I mean, as far as like a favorite joke, I mean, there's probably too many to name. The natives are probably one of my favorite spots, and then also the hippo gags are always great.
Yeah.
Some of which were not in the script that I saw people do that were just phenomenal. But just to give a shout out to one skipper, Kip Hart. He's a phenomenal skipper, and someone he's actually a stand-up comedian. He does the skipper stand-up that they do.
Nice. Oh wait. There's
Give-
a
give him
thing.
a
This
phone.
is a thing.
Yeah, there's some skippers from days of yore that it's not like as far as I know, it's not like something that's endorsed by Disney. It's just kind of a comedy club
That's great.
Feature
I would see that
from some skippers
Oh.
and yeah.
Robert, what's your favorite joke?
And I'd probably have to go with, and now for the most dangerous part of your journey, the return to civilization and the California freeways. What about you?
I don't know, because some of my favorites have either been I went on a skipper's last shift that was at night during the fireworks, and there were all adults on.
Oh, yeah.
So it was amazing, and absolutely he would have been fired if anybody heard him saying these jokes. They were so good, though. I mean, there was one part where we turned down the Nile, and he did all lighting effects and did about a minute and a half of Star Tours narration. It was really, really good. But one of my favorites, because it reminds me of a buddy of mine that used to be a Jungle Cruise skipper, was he would point out the people that would come off of the would be exiting Indiana Jones and would make some comment about them. Most of the time it's about the children staying with their parent or leeching on their parents for 18 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But he said when he was a skipper, sometimes when they would be on break, they would stand there and pretend as if they were the natives with the spears and everything in that section too. It was really good. So I like that.
Every once in a while, when I walk out of Indy and I see a boat go by, I try to act all crazy so that they like say something like, "That is a crazy man."
Yeah. I just realized what my favorite Jungle Cruise joke is. When they get on the microphone in the queue and say, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the Jungle Cruise will remain open the rest of the day."
One of my favorite Q jokes with the owner of the wad of cash wrapped in a red rubber band, please report to the shipping office. We have good news. We found your red rubber band, or things like that. So yeah, the queue is, just as much fun. And that was something, my first time going to Walt Disney World was actually in 2007 as a cast member. And I went with fellow cast members who also work Jungle. And going there, when I went there, I remember their queue was all canned, it was all pre-recorded, and I'm sure they have the ability to jump on, but it wasn't like California where they had some music, but as far as the jokes, those were all delivered by the skippers themselves. A good friend of mine, and actually somebody that I got trained at Indiana Jones with, he kind of did what I call like the James Dean stint at Jungle Cruise, like where he's like, I got to Jungle Cruise, did it, and he did it for a couple years or a year or two, and then I'm out of here, and he went out like in a blaze of glory, where like he like rode every animal in the jungle, and
Whoa.
Which sounds crazy, but
Wait, he rode every animal?
Yes, this
He
particular.
got on the zebra.
Yeah, no, he did. He probably I don't want to get the guy in trouble. Who knows?
Yeah, no, it doesnn't matter. But
That
doesn't matter
zebra
who
hasn't
it
worked
was.
since 2006. No, and I love going on his boats because he'd be so spontaneous. When I was there, it was when Rockin' Space Mountain was there.
Yeah.
Which like just such a beautiful disaster that ride was. I mean, it was. Just
I loved it.
I loved it because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I just went on. I was like, this is the epitome of.
Remember that
absurd.
original?
Yeah, I
the
love it.
original plan for that was to make that the nighttime version of the ride.
At the flip of a switch.
Yeah.
And I think from what I understand, and which I never worked space, but from what I understand, there's still some spots on the control panel in the tower. When I say tower, the control tower.
Rockin' button.
Literally, there were some things, and the intention was that it was supposed to be flick of the switch. I wrote it for the previews when they were because they tested it out on grad night.
Yeah.
The year prior to that, or the same year, they tested out on grad night, and it wasn't Red Hot Chili Peppers that was the band. It was Hoobastank.
Oh.
Yeah. So which resounding. Applause, right? I to this day, I think on my iTunes top played is my "Welcome Aboard, Rocket Rockers."
Oh yeah, nice.
Welcome aboard, Rocket Rockers. This is your Uncle Joe Benson, broadcasting live across the universe.
The co-creator of ThemeParkLeague.com, he actually had a much longer stint at the Jungle Cruise, and he was a lead there and was a trainer there. Really great guy. In fact, when you walk out of the Jungle Cruise, the map that you see that they hand out, if you ever ask for the map at the Jungle Cruise, which supposedly lately it's they've been
I didn't know you could do that.
They're beautiful. You look at them and they're just, they're fine pen drawing, really nice drawing, and they print it on, the papyrus paper or whatever it is, and that was actually drawn by, he doesn't work for the company anymore, Luis Flores, the guy who I've done this website with, and he drew it. He would actually do these drawings. He worked at Tarzan's Treehouse back when it was a staff position, which is no longer is.
Yeah.
You won't find any staff there, but he would do these fine pen drawings. And one that he did was of the Jungle Cruise.
That's cool.
And WDI actually
commissioned him?
Somehow, no, not at all. They somehow approved a drawing that a hourly cast member did, that he did, to be used and to be handed out to kids. I mean, normally that would be something that WDI would be getting paid for. And just recently, he moved out to Florida when I did, and he's still out there, chasing the dream. And I sent him a picture one day because they actually blew up that map, and that's now in the shipping office.
Yeah.
So in the shipping office,
wow.
Getting off the, where all you'll usually see a crowd of cast members around it.
Next to the signed Indiana Jones picture?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that is his map that he drew. And I mean, it's just a really cool map. And yeah, you can ask for it. I think it's mainly reserved for the navigator or the kid that they. So don't go draining their supply of maps, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So continuing your journey, working at the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland.
Did my stint in over there and in Adventure Frontier Main Street area, and then the Finding Nemo submarine voyage was going to be opened, and I hopped on board for that and got on the test and adjust crew, and so I spent a lot of time just sitting in submarines with a walkie-talkie next to my ear, waiting for an Imagineer or somebody to tell me to move it to scene 7 or
neat.
Stay where you're at.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was great. So and those are the fun days when there's walls up around the lagoon.
Did you ever talk to John Lasseter?
No, I never talked to the guy.
Oh.
I saw him there.
Neat.
Talked to Tony Baxter, and I think that's
kind of
me.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love Disney. I love the films just as much as anybody else. But I think for me, I was just to talk to Tony Baxter. That was so cool. Which is like so nerdy because like who else is
A buddy of mine who works at Imagineering just met Tony Baxter, and he signed his Figment doll.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Sorry,
of course. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking of Tony Baxter. Just kind of off and on. Sounds strange. Tony, if you're listening, I'm not crazy. You're a nice guy, and I don't think about you. I don't have a shrine or anything.
He does have a shrine.
I do.
Is there anything special about the submarines that happen that you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, I mean, submarine. I mean, that was such a cool attraction to bring back, and I think it's a testament to how Disneyland really. Or Disneyland nowadays anyways, or the Disneyland of the past decade or half decade, really caters to the local crowd rather than, maybe it's sister parks across, the country where they kind of tour to just mainly, they cater to mainly tourists. And so here, they brought back this attraction that, had such this nostalgia around it. When it went away, it was such like a big, oh my gosh, how could they do this? It was really cool to be a part of that. When I say part of that test and adjust crew, I mean, I was literally, going in there just basically learning how to move this thing around. I mean, other than, doing little operational stuff like that and maybe showing a construction crew, around without having, around a catwalk or something, there really wasn't much that I contributed to it. But, just being part of that opening operations crew was really fun. And summer I'll never forget.
Did you ever get to swim in the water?
Not at all, no. But we it's funny that there was I had this cup, and we would just like a cup like a guest had, and we would pick up water. And when I was at the rear dock, which is the first dock that you encounter as you're coming back in to as the sub's pulling back in, and we would take these cups of water and we would throw them against the plexiglass. not throw the actual cup, but we'd throw water, a big cup of water at the plexiglass. And the thing about those the sail as they're called, which is the area that you stand up in, that person stands on this pedestal in the middle of the submarine, and all the guests sitting down in their seats, all 19 of them, they would see from your waist down, which was exciting. So, if you've worked there for more than a day, you've probably had a strange encounter where you're standing up in the sail, and somebody does not believe that you are real, and starts to touch your leg or something like that. And so, and usually when that would happen to me, I wouldn't say anything. And then when we get back after the 17-minute journey, and then I lean down with a microphone and be like, I want to thank everybody for coming today. And I'd make eye contact with that person that I knew was, touching my leg or something. And you just see this look of fear fall over their faces. Like, oh no, he was not an audio animatronic.
That's awesome.
So, and the upper half of your body, of the operator's body, was up in the sail, looking out the window, above the water. So, looking out to see what's in front of them, so they could, know when to slow down and everything. And so inside that sail, it was really just a fiberglass shell with these plexiglass windows. I remember the first time being in the submarine as on a night shift, and those fireworks going off, and they would just echo inside the sail. And I mean, just like, it's a lot closer than where, like, if you're standing in front of the castle, So these things were launching off over you, and they were just going off. And I just remember, like, oh my gosh, because it was frightening. Yeah, that was a exciting experience here, having the war zone, for the first time. But so we would freak out drivers as they're pulling in this massive submarine and,
full of people,
and trying to concentrate on when to pull back so that they don't run into the submarine in front of them. And I took pride in distracting them from doing that. So
I remember, I think we'd met just before that. You were still working at because you went back to the Opera House.
Yeah, we met at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I met this guy at Disneyland.
Addison, that is. And I don't know if you've ever done it. It's really cool. Like, he would get us on without, like, waiting and stuff like that. But then at one point, we tried to get on the ride, and you were like, I can't get you on there, but I can take you to the handicapped viewing theater. Have you ever done that before?
What, for the submarine voyage?
Yeah, this sounds really shady. Like, I was like, I can't get you in there, but I can get you handicapped in here. No, the Marine Observation Outpost, as it was called, or the MOO for short, was this ingenious idea by the Imagineers as they're bringing back this attraction that uses these submarines that were built in 1959.
Yeah.
Obviously, they looked into the possibility of adding a lift and to have like just like the Jungle Cruise has, where they have this one boat that
handicap accessible.
Exactly. And so they realized that wasn't going to happen, that it just wasn't feasible. And so they came with this great idea to have the Marine Observation Outpost, where you take them into this room, and it was a cool little room. I mean, to its credit, it was well done, and it had lockers, so it kind of looked like like a diver's, like little room for the crew. But then there was this big screen on the wall, TV screen, and they would basically do a virtual ride through where it was a video of.
Did you know this was there, Robert?
I didn't know that one was there, but I know they have it for the castle walkthrough.
It's carbon copy. I mean, it's very similar. Well, not carbon. I mean, you're going through you're seeing Nemo, not
Sleeping Beauty.
A staircase. Yeah, but yeah, it's
Her name is Aurora. Sorry.
But the lights go down, and and it's got surround sound in there. But I mean, these people. I mean, they would just be furious. They wait in line forever, and then you tell them, and that ride, because of
the theoretical rider.
Yeah, the rider capacity, which is very low. It would have this massive line, and the secondary line for guests needing assistance was sometimes even longer than the main line. And so you'd get them up there and you'd try to wheel them into a room and to watch a TV screen. They weren't too happy. And so, people caught on real quick. And I mean, you would see acts of God where, miracles happening every day on that dock as people were getting up out of their wheelchairs, whether they liked it or not, and being going down into these submarines because they wanted. That's, if anything, that's a testament to the dedication of a lot of these.
That's kind of cool. I would love to see that if the ride reopens.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Of course, it's going to reopen.
So I did my stint at Disneyland in attractions, and Nemo was it for me. So well, no, not it for me, but Nemo was kind of when I was at the time reevaluating what I wanted to do, and it was about a year or two later I did a college program. I did a short stint at the Disneyland Hotel front desk, but then one of my managers who worked at the hotel told me about the college program, that he had done it, and so as my college time was ticking away, I realized maybe I should do this before that passing me up, and I did it. So.
Now, did I hear you correctly? The first time you went to Walt Disney World was when you worked there?
When I worked at Disneyland. So with my handy dandy cast member discount, I headed off to Disney World, and so that was about
That
a
would
year
be
or
a
two
weird experience. A buddy of
yeah,
mine
it's
just
worth
went to Walt Disney World for his first time for work. He was shooting
wow.
the season finale of The Middle,
Oh,
which
nice.
is which
Which I-
shot
yeah, I
there.
heard about
yeah,
that they did
he
a-
had never been before. So
Oh, man,
his
that's
entire time there, he got to be in the utilidors.
I had a lot of firsts there, working there too, because
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot to do there. So I mean, even when my first vacation, which I spent, I think 5 days there, you know, there's still a lot I hadn't seen, and in between all that, I flew out for the last month of Pleasure Island because I really wanted to do that.
Cool.
So I flew out there. I had at the time
Which they
just
closed
gotten
down,
to an
right?
age where I could fully enjoy Pleasure Island, if you know what I mean. I was 21. That's
Got it.
no weird like innuendo there or anything. But yeah, so I flew out there for that. Had a great time, met some people, and then that's really was kind of the thing that pushed me to move back out there. So, and I went off and worked at Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom,
Great.
which is
Indiana Jones.
Same rides as Indiana Jones. So it was a 5-day training. I was done on day 2 because it was very, very
You knew
similar,
everything. Yeah.
which was great. Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't know everything. There was a lot different about that ride.
Well,
It was
Felicia
really-
Rashad.
Felicia, yeah, which I had to do a lot of research on. The Cretaceous period.
Yeah.
Carnotaurus, not a T-Rex. So after that, I went over to open the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Went to the dark side there.
And how was that?
Universal Orlando, the resort over there, I felt more like the working environment that I had at Disneyland than Walt Disney World did, if that makes sense. Now, granted, I worked in Animal Kingdom, which is kind of a big, very spread out park, so you know, there's not as much of a sense of community with the cast members as
It's far away from all the other parks too.
yeah, I mean, the sense of community that I got was really from all the college program people that I
Yeah.
lived in the complex with, you know, that Disney has. But yeah, the Universal, you know, it's very smashed and you know together. It's small. It's like you know very similar to the layout of Disneyland Resort, where it's very you know 2 parks right next to each other with a shopping district, and in the backstage area was very busy, you know, and so met a lot of really cool people there. People that, you know.
Do you love the Wizarding World?
I went into my interview there, and God bless these people that decided to hire me for this, but they gave me they gave me a little test to take on Harry Potter, and so I mean I scored really low on it, and my girlfriend, who is like the biggest Harry Potter fan now, like I tell her about that, and you know she cringes because I was probably one of 3 people on the entire crew that really didn't know a lot about Harry Potter. I learned a lot about Harry Potter because of the experience, and they actually had a class to really kind of get you up to speed on it. And I watched all the movies, and I read a couple of books, and so it was kind of surreal in the sense of when you deal with the fans in Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and that would come through the Forbidden Journey, which is the ride that the main ride that I opened. The fans that come through there, I mean, you haven't experienced like I hadn't experienced something like that working at Disneyland. I mean, Disneyland's got some pretty devout fans, and they're fans of the park, and what they're fans of pirates, and so they're very unique in that way. But then you go over to Wizarding World, and the fans that are coming through, they're fans of Harry Potter. And I mean, when you tell them that, I'm sorry, you can't ride because we can't get the restraint down. I mean, these people would like break down crying. I mean, there's just, the level of fandom that place had was pretty intense. And I mean, it was pretty cool too. I mean, it really adds to any.
I thought you were going to say you had a spiel to tell them, oh, the attraction isn't working because of some magical thing, and then they challenged you on it and said, no, that doesn't make sense.
No, that too.
Because
yeah, I got at one time I got talked to because I used the term is it mug blood? Is that the term? I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I guess it's not a good word.
Mug blood.
I think of the few things on my record at Universal, I think one of them is used this fictional term that is not to be used.
mug blood. Whoa.
Not muggle?
Or yeah, Muggle's cool. I guess that's
Muggles are humans.
Yeah, Muggles are humans, and so
normal
I've grown
people.
to appreciate
Mug blood sounds like
the
a
Harry
gang.
Potter. Yeah,
whatever it was you weren't supposed to be saying.
I hope the guy who wrote me up isn't listening to this being like he didn't learn his lesson. We sat in there for 30 minutes as I wrote.
I had him sign a document that he'd never speak of it again.
I know. If you're of the age that you're able to do a college program, I can't recommend it more. I mean, it was an awesome thing. Met people from all over the world.
How do you do it? You just apply online?
You just show up. They put.
Do you have to be a cast member already?
No, not at all.
Wow.
So you.
I really wish I would have known about that in college.
Me too. No age limit?
College age.
There are some people. Yeah, I mean it's for people in college, but there are some.
Let's re-enroll.
I know. What if I just took like one class in college just so I
Yeah,
could
there's-
do it?
Yeah, Valley College is right down the street. I think we can go sign up for a class right now.
Can we sign up for a class and get a free trip to Disney World?
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
We'll sign up to a
Kids,
class
sign
at
up,
every
find your
community college.
Yeah.
In the Southern
In the
California
Tri-County area.
In the Tri-County area.
Yeah.
And we'll go to every single college program meeting they have just to make our chances that much better.
Yeah.
Of getting back in.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a game where we just ask quick questions and see what your answers are? Where it's just like one word answers, like favorites. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Actually has this.
Favorite ride at Disneyland.
Well, the disclaimer will be that we're not. This may not be our favorite. This may not be like what the answer that if I was like on my deathbed and you're like, okay, like really think about it, that I would commit to.
We'll start over. Favorite ride at Disneyland.
Indy,
California Adventure.
Tower of Terror,
Magic Kingdom.
Hall of Presidents.
Epcot.
Oh, American Adventure. I'm saluting right now.
Hollywood Studios.
Great movie ride.
Animal Kingdom.
Kilimanjaro.
What's your favorite food at Disneyland?
My current favorite food is the barbecue baked potato over at the Harbor
Galley?
Yeah, over by in front of Haunted Mansion there. It's phenomenal.
Wow, I'm gonna have to try that. I haven't had that.
5 out of 4 stars.
Who's the biggest celebrity you've seen at Disneyland?
Stamos. I saw Mark Wahlberg.
He's bigger.
Is he? I don't know, man. Stamos pretty big.
But Stamos is pretty important to see at Disneyland. That's a big deal.
I heard Stamos bought the
The D from the old Disneyland.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
John Stamos?
Yeah. He bought the
You can
sign.
see it on Google Maps.
That's dope.
I've called him out on Twitter about probably 1,400 times and never gotten a response.
Yeah.
Stamos, if you're
1401,
listening,
I
just
think.
On Instagram, he posted a picture of an animatronic pirate head he has from the ride,
Jeez.
and I commented on it, but he didn't respond.
I-
Because I recognized which pirate it was. I said, "That's the guy on the cannon, right?"
that's Ted. No, I'm just kidding. Like you knew its name.
He has a name. Okay.
His name is Sven. And
Explosivo, I think is his
favorite color,
name.
Explosivo.
Favorite cast member costume.
Oh, the Main Street Opera. Well, for the guys, the Main Street Opera House. For the girls, not so much.
David, do you have any quick questions?
I don't know. You sort of handled everything. And what I love the most is Nate and I see eye to eye on almost every Disney attraction.
He was texting me the answers.
Oh, here's some more. Tower of Terror, Florida, California.
Oh, Florida.
Pirates, Florida, California.
Oh, California without
Yeah.
a doubt.
Haunted Mansion, Florida, California.
Oh, California.
What else? Splash Mountain.
Uh,
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I like the placement of it in Disneyland a lot better. Mm-hmm. I feel like in Walt Disney
natural.
World, Walt Disney World, it's like it just feels
It's
kind
like,
of
huh?
smashed together. Yeah, like the train station, like everything's all just like up in a little jumble. And
So I think that about covers it after that quick game of a lightning round of your favorite things from Disney parks.
Do you have any like interesting Disney material you think people should check out? Like the book that you gave me that I haven't read that's collecting dust.
oh, Project Future. Yeah, great. It's about how they were buying up the process of buying up all the land for the Florida project. And
Oh, great. I think you told me about that book too.
yeah, it was a fun little read. I mean, it's something that probably if you're not if you know nothing about Walt Disney World or even like anything about it, you probably will be kind of scratching your head. But I really enjoyed it. That one's really good. There's another one about the electrical engineers at Epcot, and it's available like on Amazon and stuff. I mean, just type in Epcot, and it's like one of 2 books written about Epcot. So it's a really good one too. I enjoyed
Cool.
that. Fun read.
Well, hey, I want to thank you for being on the podcast for your first time.
Thank you for letting me come in here, eat pizza.
So everybody can find you at themeparkleague.com.
Theme Park League.
Are you on the Twitters?
Yeah, at Theme Park League, Instagram.
Thank you so much for being on. Thank you, Addison, for returning to the podcast.
Yes, thank you, John.
And one of my corrections was actually that I didn't thank Addison for being on the last podcast. So I want to thank Addison for being on podcast episodes 9 and 10.
Anytime I'm available, looking for work. Very, I would just please anybody.
Shall we move on to news?
Yeah, let's start at Walt Disney World with the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which you don't want to watch the ride through of, but it looks incredible.
That's right. I do not want to watch the ride through, but I did see a little bit of stuff with the animatronics. It does look incredible. The animatronics do have projected faces from
Do you
within.
not like that, or do you like that?
I don't know if I like it or not. I feel like I would rather have a real face.
I didn't like the idea of it, but they look really great.
They do, but are they going to wear with time?
What? How would they wear? What do you mean?
Like Buzz Lightyear has worn down. Like it's not as bright and not as much contrast as there once was.
Oh, maybe. I feel like that's upkeep, though.
But yeah, I am really excited to see it one day.
Yeah. Here's a weird piece of news. Disneyland and Walt Disney World are on Snapchat.
I don't even know what that is.
I was going to say, do you even know what Snapchat is? It's sort of like Instagram without you being able to just see the pictures again. So you can say, okay, this picture will be displayed for 1 to 10 seconds. And then once you've seen it, that's it. You can't ever see it again. It's just, I guess it's another piece that they're reaching out on social media to be able to market the parks. But yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
The Maleficent preview at It's Tough to Be a Bug. Have you seen it?
I have. Have you?
Nope.
It's fun to be in there. It's a really neat queue, actually.
They changed it?
No, it's the same, but
Okay.
they took down all the posters and things in there, so it's just...
So you can't see It's Tough to Be a Bug if you wanted to right now?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, the preview was good. I mean, Angelina Jolie looks good. They did use some special effects, but surprisingly, not a lot of special effects.
Is it in 3D or?
I mean, for the 4D experience. Yeah, it's in 3D.
Oh, okay. Next thing is, have you gotten the Imagineering Field Guide to Disney California Adventure Park?
I did.
Have you read it?
Parts of it.
Oh, what'd you read?
I read about Tower of Terror, about Carthay Circle, about Buena Vista Street. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I started reading through Buena Vista Street. I thought it's a very good book.
Yeah, I love it. Those books are great.
Yeah, I love reading them cover to cover.
Have you seen any of the other new merchandise that's out at Disneyland?
I saw some of the Adventureland stuff. I really, really wanted the throw pillow because it kind of looks like this blue one that I have, but I thought it was going to be textured, like a tapestry texture, and it's really sort of like a I don't know, like a weird material. It's a printed material, and
Yeah.
I thought it was a tapestry.
Yeah. But
So I was sort of disappointed. I really wanted that. And the elephants I thought were cool, but I thought they were candles the first time I saw them. So now I don't understand what the point of them are.
to collect them and display them.
No, I feel like it then made me think of candles at Disney World and Disneyland in general. I think that would be a great market they could tap into that I would love.
If it was a candle, would you burn it?
Yeah.
But then it would go away forever.
Yeah, but you had it once.
Ugh.
I don't like to keep stuff anymore, I guess.
Well, they are coming out with some neat stuff. I did buy one of those elephants. I bought the red one. I'd prefer a gray one, but they don't make it in gray.
I like the coasters.
The coasters were neat. They have lots of plates and glasses. We bought some of those. Trash can salt and pepper shakers.
Saw those.
Those are great.
Yeah.
We got all those. And
How many are there?
there's 4 of them.
Okay.
Frontierland.
4 sets or 4
No,
shakers?
4 shakers.
Got it.
Frontierland, Adventureland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland. And there's lots of Orange Bird stuff that has come out, including a neat ceramic figure that we bought.
What do you do when you start running out of space for these things?
Well, we don't run
Move?
We don't run out of space. We make room. We have our jungle adventure themed bathroom. that we just
Sure.
fill it up with stuff.
You texted me the other day that Big Thunder was down again. We complained about this on the last podcast, that you haven't even been on it since it reopened.
Well, yeah, I did a sneak preview, as I said, so I've been on the new version of it, but since then I haven't been on it. This is the 4th time in a row it has broken down when I was at Disneyland, and it never reopened for the rest of the day. It's probably about 10 o'clock at night, close
Oh,
to
okay.
midnight.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Prices went up at Disneyland.
I missed that.
Yeah, people aren't happy, and a one-day, one-park ticket is now $96. The premium annual pass, which I have, is now up to $699, and the premier pass is now over $1,000.
Really?
I remember the first year it was $850, only like
Yeah.
3 years ago. I think prices have doubled in the last 10 years,
Wow.
and people are saying, have they added enough stuff in the last 10 years to make it worth it?
No, but
I know. People are
they're
saying
pricing
it's-
them out.
That's what people are saying. They're pricing out people. Oh, and they also got rid of the Southern California Select Pass.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or at least as of right now, you can't buy it.
Wow.
So people are upset. I think since our last podcast, or I don't know if we mentioned it in the last one, did we talk about the anniversary of Hollywood Studios?
No, I don't think we did. And it was a big deal.
Yes, Hollywood Studios in Florida turned 25 on May 1st.
Yeah. I remember the last thing we talked about was that Tower of Terror was going to be turning 20?
20 in Florida and 10 here.
And 10 here.
Yes, I don't remember if we talked about that or not.
So yeah, it was funny that we talked about it was turning 20, and then the next week it was Disney Hollywood Studios' 25th anniversary.
Yeah. A friend of mine sent me the park map from that day.
Oh, very cool.
With the special 25th anniversary logo on it. And the map is actually on, like, the flap. And then when you open it up inside, it has the original opening day map.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So that's pretty neat. Well, that's pretty much it for Disney news that I have.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is actually go over a couple corrections from the last podcast.
Corrections? What did we do?
Well, I mentioned the band at Tomorrowland Terrace that I really liked, and I think I called them, now that I know what they're called, I think I called them Suburban Commando, and they're called Suburban Legends.
Okay.
And they're a great band. It looked like they've been around since 2003, so they're still trucking. I think they're touring Europe right now. But they are a great band, and if you can catch them at Tomorrowland Terrace, do.
Do they play Disney tunes?
Not that I saw. They play all original stuff, but it's
original stuff.
Yeah, that's what I liked about them.
Yeah.
They're so great, and they really command the audience. I mean, everybody's
That's why
on
they're
board.
called Command, right?
No, Suburban Legends. I thought they were Suburban Commando for some reason, but and the last thing I want to do is I really started listening to a lot of our peers. Disneyland podcasts, and I started blowing you up sort of when I did. I was like, listen to this podcast. They're really, really great.
I never got a chance to listen in.
Oh, they're really, really good. Right now I'm listening to about 8 of them. So I'd like to give each a shout out on every episode that we do.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one I'll do is the DL Gazette. The DL Gazette is a terrific podcast if you haven't heard it. And they're really, really seasoned. It seems like they do stuff inside the parks. They're in different places in the country, and they really sort of come together to create this show. And I mean, all the podcasts I listen to and all the blogs that we follow. I mean, kudos to everybody for putting in the time because it's a lot of work. Those guys at DL Gazette are really doing a good job. They really seem to have their formats down, and that's what I sort of admire about them all. So there it is, episode 10, another one in the bag.
Episode 10.
Do we even know what's happening on the next podcast? I don't think so.
No, not yet, but we'll have something good in store for you.
Why don't you follow us at Twitter at RemainSeatedPLS or on Facebook, Remain Seated Please. You can find us on Instagram at Remain Seated Please. And somewhere on there, we'll either announce what the next podcast is, so you could submit your questions. And as a reminder, submit your questions via the website or Twitter or Facebook for Mark Silverman. I got one in the other day. Game Since on YouTube wanted to ask if he ever talks in the voice during the ride to freak out riders. So we will ask Mark that question.
Okay, we will.
And see what he thinks.
All right. I think it's time for bed.
So for Remain Seated Please, I'm David.
And I'm Robert. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Arby's special sauce.
Well, folks, this concludes our show.
There. That wasn't so bad. Was it?
I'll see you all a little later.
You may not survive to pass this way again.
Time to be moving along.
Hurry back.
And barrel around to see us again.